Well, today we're going to carry on doing some rust proofing. Now, given the fact I live in Southern California, you might wonder why rust proofing is so important. Well, I guess the point is that rust can happen anywhere. It's obviously less likely to happen in Southern California, but coming from the UK, a lot of my cars that I bought in my youth just rusted away in front of me, so I'm a little paranoid about it. Plus, of course, the fact that this car was particularly rusty. There's a video on the playlist from 2018 showing me poking around the chassis rails, and tons of rust came out. I welded on, or had welded on I should say, because someone helped me, new chassis rail on one side, and you can see how bad it was. So when I put the new chassis rail in, I was careful to make sure that on both sides I gave it as much protection as I could on the inside and on the outside. Now, the Morris Minor can rust in many places, but in particular it's the enclosed box sections that you have to protect. They can rust inside the chassis rails at the front, which are partially open under the gearbox cover and so can be accessed from the inside. Also, this large box section in the middle of the car under the rear seat, which spans the width of the car, very difficult to get inside. I did weld up a repair patch underneath on mine, but that's an area that needs looking at. And of course the sills on each side are susceptible, so it's good to get some protection into both of those. And then finally there are two chassis rails at the back that deserve attention as well. So I'm just going to use some rust converter on this area. It's just Eastwood rust converter, and then I'll put some Rust-Oleum on it and then wax. This has been treated before, but it's got discoloured and a little bit rusty because of what the body shop did when they had to attach something to get the frame straight. And I'm basically using two products. So there's the good old wax oil, this old can I've had for a few years. Got this little heater here, and I'm heating up the wax oil just on a very low setting. I'm being very careful to make sure it doesn't, blow up or anything. So I'm using a brush to kind of paint that on in certain sections that are visible. But for the box sections, I'm using this 3M cavity wax. The good thing about this stuff is that it also comes with these long extension wands, which you can use to get all the way down into the end of the box section cavity. So in the car, yesterday I applied some of the cavity wax to the chassis legs down there. On the sills I'm going to apply some to the difficult to reach bits, and then round the back here, in the boot, there are these chassis rails that run down here, and I'm going to shoot some wax with the wand all the way down there. And that discoloration you see is actually wax oil. Not sure it was a good idea to put it on, but it is going to be hidden. It does protect the stuff, but it'll be hidden once the fuel tank is in and the floorboards are in. So I have this endoscope I bought for the iPhone. It's very cheap. It was only 15 bucks or so. It works pretty well. It's not exactly an HD quality image, but it's pretty good. It's good enough for the purpose. And I connect it to this this little rod here, just to make it easier to maneuver in the space. I'm getting some pretty good results. Allows you to view fairly deep inside. As you can see, I've also taken the radiator support panel off, which is part of the grille, and, and, uh, treated it with wax oil in some of those hard to reach places. And then I've also taken the radiator support panel off, which is part of the grille, and treated it with wax oil in some of those hard to reach places. And treated it with wax oil in some of those hard to reach places. And treated it with wax oil in some of those hard to reach places. And treated it with wax oil in some of those hard to reach places. And treated it with wax oil in some of those hard to reach places. And treated it with wax oil in some of those hard to reach places. And treated it with wax oil in some of those hard to reach places. And treated it with wax oil in some of those hard to reach places. And treated it with wax oil in some of those hard to reach places. And treated it with wax oil in some of those hard to reach places. And treated it with wax oil in some of those hard to reach places. And treated it with wax oil in some of those hard to reach places. And treated it with wax oil in some of those hard to reach places. And treated it with wax oil in some of those hard to reach places. And treated it with wax oil in some of those hard to reach pla grill itself is over here. I just treated the inside there with wax oil, and this actually is going to stay off the car until the engine is in, because it's just so much easier to install the engine and gearbox with that out the way. As you can see, the access is really fantastic. Okay, so we have just a little bit of rust here under the this lip of the front wing. See if we can see it there. A little circle right there. The rubber buffer that was there was painted over by the body shop, and they should have taken it off and cleaned the area. But it's pretty easy to do.